Wonderful Scholars. It's Mrs. Santana again, the EL coordinator for Wonderful College Prep Academy. If you're watching this, you may have missed our Tuesday Zoom video lesson. Keep watching to find out what you missed. Hello again. Let's take a look at what we missed on today's Zoom lesson. All right, our goals and objectives. We want you to use your language tools. Students will be able to interact with others on Zoom and Google Classroom to collaborate and offer conversation support. Ideally, you'd be participating in our live Zoom lessons. That guarantees that you're not only having conversations, but we use this time together to collaborate and share ideas with each other, because those are really important tools in developing our language. So the Zoom norms were to keep your mute on if we have a large class, ask questions on the chat space, help each other, and be respectful. Let's take a look at the picture. What do you see in the picture? All right, I encourage you to use a complete sentence and to steer away from one-word answers. So if you use one of my sentence frames, that's great. I would have accepted anything like, this is a picture of cell phones, or I see different kinds of smartphones. Those are two acceptable answers. Today's fluency practice passage is titled The Smartphone. Again, we're going to start our timer, and I'd like you to listen out for what a fluent reader sounds like. Pay attention to the tone in my voice, to my pausing, making sure that when we read ourselves, when it's our turn to do our fluency passage, that we, yes, try to read as many words as we can within the minute, but also let's make our voice sound as natural and as conversation-like as possible. All right, let's get started. The smartphone. Jennifer had a panicked look on her face. Her eyes were wide, her heart was racing, her breath quickened, and her head turned left and right and up and down rapidly. She lifted her backpack off the seat of her desk, checked in all of the pouches, looked under the chair and all around the floor. She patted her pants pockets and squeezed the fabric of her sweatshirt. All the students in the class had made their way into the hallway upon hearing the dismissal bell. Her teacher, Mr. Johnson, walked over to where Jennifer was standing with a puzzled, worried look on her face. "What's the matter, Jennifer?" "Mr. Johnson, I think somebody took my phone." Just then, Jennifer's friend, Ashley, entered the room. "Jennifer, what's wrong? Aren't you coming?" "My phone, I can't find my phone," Jennifer complained. Oh, let's stop the timer there. All right. So I hope you noticed the tone in my voice. You noticed the natural pauses. I tried to make it sound as conversational as possible when I was reading. Now let's take this fluency passage a step further, and we're going to describe parts of the story using sense verbs. Now, as you recall, the last few weeks we've focused heavily on sense verbs, and these are the 5 senses as we've been mentioning: sight, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. Now, you as a reader, you as a a student who's trying to develop their language, use the more that we use sense verbs to describe what we read or to describe anything, the better we develop our language. So let's take the passage, for example, the smartphone. There was a very heavy sense of feeling here. Think back to the story, Jennifer, and we can describe a couple things from this character. Let's focus on her feeling. It may not be a physical feeling on the outside, but maybe an internal feeling on the inside. How does she feel during the beginning of this passage? And if you don't recall, a good strategy is to go back to the text. Jennifer had a panicked look on her face. So right here, the story describes how she looks panicked. Now, if somebody's looking panicked, that gives us a clue as to, we can make an inference as to what she's feeling. So we know that she looks panicked. Feel. She could probably be feeling panicked as well. Another word for panicked would be afraid, scared, worried. Those are strong sense verbs that describe the sense of her feeling, how she looks. Let's take our work here. Let's take a minute here to jot some of these sense verbs down in our assignment. All right. So here we have our fluency passage. Again, we can always refer to this when it's time to describe our sense verbs here. So I'm going to take that word that we took from the very first sentence of this passage, panicked. With a C. I'll highlight it in yellow so I know it's a new word. Feel. Again, panic is a feeling. Another word for panic can be worried. Right? Imagine losing your cell phone. How would that make you feel? You'd also be maybe afraid. I would not want to have to let my parents know I don't know where my cell phone is. So here are 3 examples. You'd need to come up with at least 5. And again, some of these can be based from the text. We can find them right here in the text. Where does it describe her feeling? What she sounds like? We can even take an inference when she says, "Mr. Johnson, I think somebody took my phone." You know, how would you feel? You might also feel upset. Those are all good examples of sense verbs, describing not only what the character feels and looks like, but maybe going beyond that. Somebody can sound worried as well. Maybe sound upset. Those are all great sense verbs that we can use to describe what happened in the passage, or maybe what we already know what it feels like to have. Maybe you've experienced losing your cell phone yourself, and you can use some of your own experiences to help finish some of these empty boxes here about sense verbs. So think back to if you've ever felt or gone through something like this, maybe witnessed someone else losing a phone or something important value, or you can go back to the story and reread to help you find those sense verbs. All right, remember to have those conversations. Don't forget to tell me who you spoke with during the week. What did you talk about? That goes under topic discussed. And how long? Again, we have Zooms every Tuesdays and Thursday. Have a conversation or speak with someone every day. I hope this lesson helped you understand what you missed in today's class. Here's to Thursday's class. Hope to see you there. Bye-bye.